And we are the Coalition, loud and proud, outrage porn-free, civilly disobedient media, broadcasting live on the Worldwide Coalition Network here at the Go Local Live Broadcast Center. Facebook.com/The Coalition Radio, on the mighty Twitter at Coalition_radio, and of course the mothership at CoalitionRadio.us. It's the Libertarian Hour. We ran a little bit long with Hannah Cox on her Conservatives Concerned Death Penalty organization. Well worth the time. Again, we appreciate her contribution to the programming tonight. But let's get to hashtag LP Everywhere. Joining me tonight live from the location, the site, if you will, of the 2020 Libertarian National Convention in Austin, Texas, are three glitterati, if you will, superstars from the libertarian world. Of course, I'm talking about Libertarian National Committee member Joshua Smith and chairman of the Libertarian Party Affiliate Support Committee, Erin Adams, who is also a Libertarian National Committee member, and she, of course, is the chairperson of the Libertarian State Leadership Alliance, as well as being on the LNC. And of course, we've got Vice Presidential candidate John Phillips. He's joining us as well. Guys, I know it's been a hectic day, a lot going on. Thanks for joining us tonight, because the hashtag everywhere, the only hashtag that matters is LP Everywhere. How are you guys doing tonight in Austin?
We're great, Pat. How are you?
Great. So, Josh, maybe you could lead off. You're the chairperson. You're the person from the LNC who was essentially delegated to revive this committee. Talk about the Affiliate Support Committee, its missions, and what we've embarked on here.
Sure. I was very, very proud to be handed the keys to chair this committee. I talked a lot about affiliate support and candidate support during my chair run last year. And so I know that it was a committee in the past that didn't really do a whole lot and didn't really have much of a budget. And, I kind of thought about the best people to lead the affiliate support coalition, I like to call it. And, so I reached out to John and Erin and Stephen and yourself. For those who don't know, he is also a member of the affiliate support committee.
Yeah, hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. And Richard Longstreth and David Demarest, and I think we put together a really good team of people that are coming up with creative solutions to helping further the cause of our affiliates.
How important, and this is essentially libertarian T-ball here, but speak to the importance, particularly following the 2016 campaign. One of the primary lessons learned is that so much of our growth has to be organic and local. Speak to the importance of the Libertarian Party supporting affiliates through the Affiliate Support Committee.
Well, really, Pat, that gets back to how we're structured, right? The LP is meant to be bottom up. I think a lot of people look at us and want to try and compare us to the old parties. We're not the old parties, and we don't work that way. So we are bottom up for a reason, and that means our local county affiliates, our precinct affiliates, that's where it all starts. When we don't have good communication and a good bridge and good relationships between state affiliates and the national party, we lose all that institutional knowledge. We lose the ability to really effectively work together to support nationwide candidates.
Right, and let's be blunt, there's a little, and not through, and I'm not putting a negative spin on this, but there's a little bit of bridge building that needs to happen, I believe, between affiliates and the national organization. I think we'd all accept it at this point. And I'm not looking to point fingers. I think the beauty of this committee is that it's moved well beyond that and is looking to create solutions. And the LP Everywhere campaign is the perfect example of that. John, tell us about the LP Everywhere campaign.
Well, you want me to tell you about the LP Everywhere Committee? I would actually defer to Erin on that.
Okay.
Yeah, for those who don't know, just because I'm the chair doesn't mean I come up with any ideas. Erin was the sole proprietor of this idea for LP Everywhere. She really laid the entire framework for us.
So look, we hear a lot of times that the LNC should do this or do that, or the party should do this or do that, and I've said that. Like, I've been that person that was really pissed off. I didn't feel like leadership was doing the things I wanted them to do. When I got into leadership, I kind of figured out why they weren't doing a lot of those things, right? And a lot of times it comes down to money. So Chrissy Wickers in Ohio, shout out to Chrissy, that's my girl, had this great idea. The Price is Right was in town and they were auditioning. and she got a couple of buddies together, and they put on their county LP t-shirts, and they went out and auditioned, and she shared that whole experience kind of with me, and that's kind of where this idea came from. I started thinking, you know, what we hear all the time when we run, what I heard is I didn't know librarians have their own party. Aren't you guys just liberals? Right, number one,
librarians?
Librarians. People don't know
True.
what a libertarian is.
Very
They
true.
don't know what the party's about. They don't know what values we have or what our principles are or what our philosophy is. The key to changing that is making the term libertarian a household name. How do we get people really comfortable with that and really familiar with that? And then the second part of that is we have to walk our talk. We have to be active in our communities, being visible, doing the things that matter to us. This was a good opportunity to do that. I thought we could grow on that kind of passive marketing idea that we saw come out of Ohio, out of Chrissy Wicker's team, and I reached out to a couple of donors and said, hey, I'd like to turn this into a competition because I think competitions are fun. And it's a good way to get people involved. And they donated the money. And I did that work before I pitched it to the committee. If you have a great idea or have an idea that you think that's great, if you can get it funded, it's probably a good idea. At least a couple other people think it's a good idea. Fund it and then pitch it. And when you do that, a lot of those barriers to getting things done kind of fall away. I mean, everybody on this committee has been amazing about helping me kind of tweak the idea and paint it into something that can be really valuable, not just for our state affiliates. Look, if you're a county affiliate, $1,000 is gonna go a long way for you. Don't tell me it won't help you. I don't believe that. $1,000 is a lot for most affiliates. And we wanted to make it a meaningful prize. And all the work that our activists are doing as part of this competition, going out in their communities and doing park cleanups and adopting highways and doing great stuff. And Pat, you've seen it. We're already getting amazing submissions, tons of them.
Right.
That's marketing.
Because
And that's how we build a bridge between our party and our communities.
Well, I think that for me, what's so cool about this, why I think it's so important is that's the side of the party that the people who trash talk us all the time never see.
Right.
They never see the hardworking activists. They just see the internet. You know, they see the internet gas or the media gas or the marketing gas, and they hold on to that. Yeah, Aleppo or whatever Mr. Chairman said this week, or what, you know. And the fact of the matter is that we're a party on the backs of the hardest working activists in the country.
Right.
You know, and so being able to really spotlight that for the rest of the country, I think is going to be important going forward.
And the other thing it does is it helps us spotlight, you know, everybody else says, but, oh, well, if you're not going to tax, how are you going to do this? Well, we're going to show you.
We'll show you how we'll do it.
Google voluntarism.
Volunteerism. And you know, the other thing is, I don't know about you guys, one of the first things that I found in the LP that gave me sticking power and staying power, even on the shitty days, and is that the LP is family. And this is a great opportunity for us to show that side of us too.
John, you hit on a critical point. We routinely talk about eliminating government. And of course, the ultimate question we receive is, roads. Who will build the roads? Well, you know, we often talk about voluntary associations and people who, realizing an issue or a challenge, respond to it in a voluntary way with a free association of individuals who get together, perhaps out of selfish concern, perhaps out of an identity, a need to identify a need for the community at large. It could be one of 100 reasons. The reasoning is irrelevant. People voluntarily getting together, associating in free association to work towards completing, eliminating problems facing the community. So the point of LP Everywhere, and I love to hear all your comments on this, is to represent publicly what individual libertarian affiliates, both from the smallest township level on to the largest state level, are doing themselves, walking the walk, talking the talk, and eliminating government in their lives, but also replacing through voluntary means the needs that government met through more expensive means and through force and coercion. Isn't that what we're ultimately talking about here?
Yes.
Absolutely. It's exactly what it is. You know, we have to prove that we're willing to back the things that we say we're going to do. You know, and so as libertarians, we don't often get the chance to govern. So going out and taking that time to show what we could do if we were governing is super important.
Well, the nice thing about this project is a lot of us are already doing these things.
Sure.
So we're just saying, hey, wear your LP shirt, take some pictures, submit it, and show us what you're doing.
Right. As an organization, the assets, the facilities, the resources that we have relative to the duopoly, the two quote unquote larger parties, can be challenged. What we're doing here is we're taking, as you pointed out, the efforts of ordinary libertarians who probably, very possibly, have been doing some of these same activities for years, and simply harnessing social media to accentuate the positive instead of the negative. All right.
Sure, and there's a lot of it.
A lot.
What are some of the things that you've seen? Give us some descriptions of things that you've seen already, folks doing.
Oh man, I could pull up some of these submissions. I mean, we just got, this all started with Chrissy Wickers going on The Price is Right. That's where it started for me. We've seen park cleanups. We've seen highways adopted. Lots of park cleanups. People are feeding the homeless. People are wearing their shirts and volunteering at soup kitchens and at the Ronald McDonald House. There's, another good example of individuals that do this is the Liberty Coalition for Disaster Relief. I mean, these people raise funds and gather supplies for disaster relief. And we have a lot of libertarian county parties. I know the Oklahoma State Party was really heavily involved in that 2 years ago or last year, raising all kinds of donations, coming up with all kinds of food and blankets. And in California, we've seen activists feeding the homeless and getting arrested for it. I mean, this is what's happening.
In Minnesota, we've seen them campaigning for pain relief and for marijuana legalization and for criminal justice reform. Wisconsin is working big on criminal justice reform.
We got some really good pictures from Minnesota. And we should probably talk about Christian Malazarte.
Yes,
as well. So if you've seen the video for this, Christian Malazarte put that together, and the guy's phenomenal. He's amazing. He really, really cares about this movement, and he did that for free.
Right.
But just to kind of bring that in together, what I meant is a lot of the photos in that were sent to us right away.
Right, immediately.
And they're beautiful photos of people doing everything that they've mentioned here, and that's old activism. That was prior to the LP Everywhere hashtag and the marketing contest. That was already our activists working.
Right. We're seeing more parade entries. We're seeing people actually instead of just entering the parade, they're actually building competition floats now.
Huh.
So it's improving people's activism. It's reinvigorating people's activism too, and that's really exciting for me.
Right. To those that see us as strictly a political organization, why should you incorporate activism into your daily lives?
Well, man, politics done right looks like activism. It just does. There really isn't when people say that to me, it's strictly a political operation or strictly a political organization. There's no such entity, not even in the old parties. Politics, whether you like politics or not, I promise you, politics touch every area of your life.
Interesting.
Especially your wallet. That's how your activism ties in.
Well, and the activism really ties in because it lets us open these conversations with people. You go to these events and you're not even necessarily a political event, but you're wearing your LP shirt, and they say, "Well, what's that?" And you explain to them and you say, "Hey, this is what we do. This is what we're talking about. We voluntarily have these associations to help people, and see how much more we get done when it's done voluntarily rather than fighting it through the government."
It's visibility. I mean, activism is visibility. It's showing that there's a libertarian party, because there's many people who, like Aaron said, think we're the Librarian Party.
Or the
the Libertines. Yeah.
I've been accused of being
a liberal party. You said liberal wrong. But the fact of the matter is that activism it equates to visibility, and all politics needs visibility to have a winning solution.
And the other thing is too, it's really important that as libertarians that we're people of substance, and when we're walking our walk and showing people that we really do believe the things that we say, and giving them really good, visible, concrete answers and experience and evidence of how it can happen. It goes a long way.
Hey Pat, you're part of the ASC.
Yeah.
Why don't you give us your thoughts on LP Everywhere?
Yeah.
Well, I first of all, what I love is it's twofold. Number one, I just love the slogan LP Everywhere because we are everywhere. Even if people haven't yet identified as libertarians, so many folks are in practice and belief and in their daily convictions. And it's our job as party leadership to essentially have a, you talk about gender reveals. Well, let's have a little bit of a political reveal. If the 16 election brought us one benefit, it gave us the opportunity to go out to a lot of people and say, hey, do you believe in small government? Yeah. Do you believe in self-ownership? Yeah. Do you believe in the representation of the ultimate minority? Yeah. Do you believe in, what's that cliche, out of the government, out of your bedroom and out of your wallet? Well, yeah, of course. Well, guess what? You're a libertarian. You didn't know it, but you know it now. And that's to me an astonishing moment when you see that revelation, that hallelujah moment take place. At the same time, the beauty of this is that when you meet people engaged in everyday acts of kindness / activism, you break down barriers because folks don't see you as a political entity anymore. You're simply standing alongside of them, whether it be at a soup kitchen, whether it be sandbagging, in the eventuality of a storm, whether it be protesting on behalf of medical cannabis users who are very often profoundly ill. People always ask me, what was that moment of activism that means the most to you? And for me, it was being a libertarian speaking to a group on a very cold winter day of medical cannabis patients and cheering them on in ultimately a successful fight against the Rhode Island government, who sought, incredibly enough, to tax them. And when you speak in front of a group like this, I know this has happened to all of you, people are cheering you on if you're a candidate, people are cheering you on if you're the speaker. And what I simply did was I turned around and I said, listen, I want you to turn around and look at each other. And I want you to understand that the real heroes in the movement isn't the blabbermouth holding the microphone, isn't the guy up front who happens to be hold the speaker's rostrum. It's you, all of you. You are the heroes of this movement. And it was a moment, so what do we say, profoundly libertarian AF, that I will take that moment of activism to my grave as perhaps the most single empowering moment in my political life because of the smile those folks had on their faces when we all marched together, it was about 100 of us, into the State House. And I'm sad to say that most of those people at that meeting have left us, they passed. But at the same time, if for that one moment, we as libertarians can look to individuals, people who are challenged by life, whether it be economic circumstances, whether it be health issues, whether it be the government, any one of a number of issues by externalities that seem bigger to them, and we can point out how the libertarian movement can empower them individually and then become part of a larger community to fight those large forces, all right, then we will have accomplished greatness regardless of whether we get 2% or 10% in an election. And that's what I preach to every day about this movement. And that's the beauty of LP Everywhere, because we are everywhere, we will continue to grow everywhere, and we will continue through this effort to show people how simple acts of kindness and engagement can alter a community in ways that social media or fake news or talking head shows could never do. And that's why I support it.
I mean, Pat, honestly, for me, when I look at other people's activism, things that other people have done that have inspired me, some of your testimony before Congress has been amazing. Some of your testimony before your state elected officials, man, powerful, powerful shit. We had a mutual friend before you and I met that would send me, Tom would send me videos of you testifying, and he's like, oh my God, check this out. And it was inspiring. It got me back active again. And I think that's another benefit of this campaign. When you're looking around and seeing all these other things that people are doing, it can reinvigorate you.
And we have to inspire. I mean,
we have to inspire.
We are a small fish in a large pond, and we have to inspire the ripple.
We do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And recognize that everybody who's already doing these things, and sometimes people don't see it. So many people are doing activism behind the scenes normally. And so then when we get to put it forward and say, look, this is what people are doing and recognize what they're doing already, it is a great thing, and it really brings people to the forefront and they say, wow, I can do that too.
Right.
Because we're all just regular folks. And when
Well, and I think too, I like that the highlight is on our hardworking activists and not on the handful of loud incendiary individuals that tend to follow any political movement. Every group has them. We have them. Ours maybe are louder than the old parties, but they're certainly not more numerous.
Well, they're only louder because they're less drowned out.
Right, that's all. That's
Right.
all it is. And I'm sick of the attention being given to those people instead of the hardworking activists that are really in the trenches doing the work.
right, and this celebrates that, because the hardest part about being an activist in a movement like the libertarian movement is so often it's so easy to feel alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's so easy to feel like, you know, you go up. I did a talking head show this morning, a local show called the Lively Experiment, and education is a hot button issue here in Rhode Island. Rhode Island made national news for all the wrong reasons, for having a system so totally failed that none other than the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and the Washington Post all wrote editorials about it. That's how profoundly it's failed. So when I got up, when I had my chance to talk, and I opened up with that the state of Rhode Island, the city of Providence government, had abdicated their moral authority to be involved in education of our children, people look at me like, well, how can you possibly say that, despite all evidence to the contrary? The craziest part about our movement is that there are those people, and it's less and less because, well, we're right, that as an individual, when you preach libertarianism to folks, they often look at you because, well, quite frankly, like you're nuts. And we need to understand that it's through this type of movement that, number one, we can validate each other. We can come together as a community and realize that there are other people of similar beliefs who had their own epiphanies, their own libertarian moments. And that is what's been missing and what it's so great to have back now. And this idea is sheer genius. You know, I believe this would be as impactful or more impactful for our movement than that whole pay it forward thing was back in the 80s. It's got that kind of potential. And we're seeing a response already that's epic.
And for those of you who don't know, the ad that we made has reached over 25,000 people.
Right.
It's been viewed fully by over 5,000 people, and we're already getting submissions. So it is impactful, and it is making a mark.
And that's just since we released it Sunday night.
That's 25,000 people that if they hadn't already heard the term libertarian, if they didn't already have some idea of what we do and what we're about, they do now.
Right.
Absolutely.
Hey, I got to make a shout out to Apollo Pizzell. He's out there right now knocking on doors in 102 heat. Oh boy.
Where is he?
These are the times that try libertarian souls.
Where is Apollo?
You know,
He's a rock star.
well, let's see if he remarks on the video. You know, Apollo is instant campaign, break glass, instant campaign. The man is everywhere and anywhere at any one time.
Him and Karen Schultz are both absolute rock stars.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. And
Yeah, Apollo, I got you. If you ever need me, you know.
yeah.
I think it needs to be there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about Austin. I mean, it's time to start getting. It's a year out, but it's time to start getting. It's hot.
It is not hot. He says it's hot. It was 84, 86 yesterday.
It's 90 today.
It's 90 today, so
And
it's
humid.
not really hot.
Humid.
It,
I come from the great West Coast, you know, where there's
Yeah,
no humidity.
Trust me, from what you're used to, Pat, it's not humid.
yeah, I mean, it's not bad. So a couple of the things that I really like, Austin is a super walkable town if you're downtown, but everywhere you look, there's a bird scooter, there's a Lime scooter, there's Lyft bikes, restaurants
bars,
everywhere, stuff to do
clubs.
everywhere. There's this thing you can go check out the bats.
Right. Yeah,
It's
the
pretty
bat
cool.
watching,
The
yes.
bat watching is
Live music everywhere.
everywhere. Good food, amazing food.
And it's all right here close to the conference center. You don't have to catch an Uber and go
It's all
a
within
10-minute ride.
It's all within
right here.
Yeah, 4
Yeah.
blocks of the. This is a really nice hotel too. I'd venture to say it's a nicer hotel than 2018.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
I do too.
Much nicer.
Is,
And I
is,
think people are going to be really impressed.
is Austin still weird?
Yes.
Yeah, but in a really good way.
Not as weird as Portland, though.
I'm asking libertarians if something's weird. Okay. You know?
You're asking these libertarians if something's weird.
Yeah, if we think it's weird, holy cow.
Right, yeah.
Now, of course, by the way, Josh, you got to step back just a second because I believe you're rocking a Print Guns Not Money T-shirt.
Oh, yeah, print guns, not money. I mean, LPMC,
Excellent.
Libertarian Party of Chicago.
Excellent, excellent.
Who just cut their first disbursement check to a local candidate, by the way, with Mosh in Philly. So, and we have 4 other candidates that will be cutting disbursement checks to. So I believe currently we're the only caucus in the party cutting disbursement checks to candidates.
No.
No, one more?
Radical Caucus has been doing it for a really long time.
I just meant like
so.
currently. But no, yeah, the Rads, I mean, we like the Rads, so.
Radical Caucus has been giving money to candidates for a really long time.
Yeah.
Our process is different though.
I just mean as far as, okay, so the Rads and us,
Yeah.
we're the ones.
Listen,
As far as I know. I mean, Outright doesn't, Outright can't because of the way they're structured, right? They're an educational nonprofit. They do rate candidates though. So if you're looking for a GSM freedom rating on a candidate, just reach out to Outright. They'll
Well, that's
get you
pretty cool.
that, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
right.
For those of you who don't know, because a lot of people get confused, GSM is gender and sexual minorities
Yes.
as opposed to LGBTQT.
Yeah, I think GSM is what everyone's going with.
I hope so. There are definitely some people who are vocal against it, and I understand their criticism. But anything is better than alphabet soup.
Sure.
It's never anybody's
Let's not
favorite,
get
right?
too deep in this kind of thing.
Right. And
Someone's watching this looking for a reason. I already know.
You're right, always.
But hey, if you've got a reason and you'd like to be activist about it, go out, be activist about it, take some pictures and send them to us. 'Cause
Yeah.
so-
That's LP everywhere at lp.org is the email that you would send your activist pictures or videos, or if you get some cool earned media, send that over. But what I've been telling people in my inbox is, hey, don't just send us a stream of pictures. Put together a file over the next 2 months. You know, you have till November 5th to get these submissions in. Put together a good file, big, nice, meaty file for us, and turn it in next week or the week after, you know. So we have a kind of a staggered flow of a bunch of different organizations getting out and doing some activism, so we can start putting them on the social media website, you know.
And then don't just send pictures, please. Send us a little detail about what you were doing.
And video. Video's good.
Names of the individuals involved is really, really, really important.
And also, I've had some feedback and criticism on wanting to know how it's going to be judged. I believe that we're going to, as a committee, kind of thin the herd out, start taking from, you know, the better files and who's been creative, who's gotten the media attention, who's had the people come out. Not media.
Look, media attention isn't required, but it is something that we'll consider.
And then once we get them whittled down far enough, then there will be a vote for members only of the party.
Right.
Right.
So the final decision rests on the body because these are your activists, and we're a committee that we're here to represent your interests, right? So you get to vote. It'll be 1 vote per IP address. It may be difficult to make sure that no non-members vote. If somebody sneaks through, that's possible, but it'll still be 1 per IP. We don't want people being able to vote multiple times and boost themselves or their own project. This needs to be as fair and equitable as we can make it. And those voting options will go out on the social media pages and the website as soon as they're ready to shift into that.
right, and I want to stress, people can continue to contribute as the contest moves along. So if a submission now does not prevent you from a moment of genius a few weeks from now, should it strike you, particularly post-summer holidays.
Honestly, I would say that if you submit multiple forms of activism, that's going to get our attention. If a county chapter or a state chapter does 1 in June, 1 in July, 1 in August, 1 in September, 1 in October, 1 in November,
We're going to be like, wow.
we're going to be, and you know,
We like to see that.
yeah.
Yeah, what we're not going to do is tie ourselves down into a specific rubric. We're individuals, and we believe in individual freedom. We're going to all exercise our individual freedom when we're making these choices.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So, thank you for joining me tonight. we'll get this out in podcast form and in YouTube form shortly, so we can get it out this weekend to folks to kind of drive home the message. You know, there really are, other than the deadline and the physical submission technique, there really are no rules. No rules, just right, correct? I mean,
Right.
it's literally whatever the imagination can create and successfully execute on. And,
Sure.
and you know, it's not only is it important to win, but it's also important to inspire. And you can see already the level of inspiration that's taking place. Just brilliant idea. I think it's rocking the party, to tell you the truth. In just a few short days, it's absolutely rocking the party. And I think you're starting to see this creep into some of the conversations that were used to be dominated by libertarians and fakeitarians and all the other, you know, riffraff that sometimes surrounds a political organization that maybe sometimes we amplify too much. So I think this is going to herald in a new era of positivity that just portends great things for the organization. So I thank all of you for joining me tonight.
Thank you, Pat.
One more time, where can folks give us a couple of the websites? Aaron, Josh, John. Just
So the submission email is lpeverywhere@lp.org. The hashtag that we want you guys sharing everywhere is #LPEverywhere. If you would like to see the video, it was posted by the Libertarian National Party social media, but you can also find it on my page at Joshua Smith, LNC at large, where it was originally released.
Yeah, it's in a bunch of groups. It's
Lots
in
of
the LNC
groups.
Business Discuss group, the Radical Caucus group. It's
Share the video with your affiliates.
It's on YouTube somewhere.
yeah, you can find us on YouTube.
Yeah, we have a YouTube link, and Daniel Fishman's going to be sending out a national email with the link to the YouTube video to all the members of the party. So.
Well, and yeah, and if you're participating in this, man, this is a competition. Some friendly competition's good. Don't be afraid to, to poke your local affiliate.
Talk some
or
smack.
Talk some smack to the next county over. I love every state in my region, but I live in Oklahoma, so y'all look out.
One more thing. If a couple local affiliates want to cooperate on one, that's fine. Hey, if you guys agree and cooperate on one, if you got a smaller affiliate or whatever, and you want to cooperate with a couple groups and you agree and do one submission and split the money, that's on
That's
you.
on you.
So it's only on
We're
you
fine with that.
how you want to spend your
If you're a
funds.
smaller chapter, don't let it stop you.
Excellent.
And look, this applies to precinct parties, county parties. It doesn't, not just your state affiliate. If you're the chair of a county party, man, you can do a lot with sidewalk chalk, I promise you.
Any officially recognized affiliate, be it local, county, or
Precinct,
state,
whatever.
precinct, what do they call them in Louisiana? Parish.
Parishes.
Yeah.
You just have to be a duly recognized affiliate of your state party.
Yep.
And it is $1,000.
$1,000.
Whole buckaroos.
To spend as you wish. And let me add one editorial note.
Yeah,
When you
we don't care.
When you submit something, if you could, because this has been a challenge that I've been working on for a couple of weeks now, if you could list your officers and your points of contact with your submission, that would be really helpful, because the ASC,
You know who to get hold of.
the ASC and the LSLA are working cooperatively on a number of ventures. There's overlap in membership, and we're looking to find ways through those organizations that we can effectively support the grassroots. If we don't know you're out there, we can't help. And we're looking
One more thing we're going to be doing is as you make these submissions, if it's a good submission, we're going to be doing shout outs the entire time.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
no doubt.
And getting some people some coverage of their local chapters. So we'll be spreading those events. Hey, this county did this great event, and we'll get it on the LP social media. We'll get it on our pages.
Be in the newsletter.
Be in the newsletter and all that. So it's not just $1,000 prize, but there's going to be a lot of recognition along the way.
Yep.
right. And the National Party has embraced this idea. There's a spirit of cooperation between both committees and the National Party, to which degree I haven't seen. Dan Fishman is all over this. He recognizes the value of the affiliate movement. He comes from a great affiliate, Massachusetts. He's had a lot of success there. He's seen firsthand the power of the affiliate in supporting candidates and movements in Massachusetts. And, so Dan supremely gets it on this issue. And, I think that type of cooperation only breeds good things for the movement going forward.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
So we're going to say a good night. Listen, I want you guys to make one promise to me while you're out there in Austin. Well, two. Hashtag Providence 2022.
Hey, I would love to come and eat as many stuffies as I can fill up on, man.
But
Trust me.
but most importantly, I want to recognize at this moment the efforts of the convention committee of the National Party. I have had the privilege of attending the 2016 and the 2018 national conventions. To say that the committee outperforms organizations with much more resources and larger size would be the understatement of the year. The work that they've done in promoting the movement through the national conventions has been nothing less than outstanding. And I'm talking everything
Well,
from the...
thank you, because we met from 11 o'clock this morning until 4 o'clock this afternoon. I am tired, yo.
It's really if you have a chance to go to a convention as a delegate, as an alternate, or simply as someone who's interested in the movement, the speakers, the platform committees, the nominations, the tireless work in promoting a seamless event that draws audiences internationally is just outstanding. And I wish you guys nothing but luck.
Well, thank you. And in 2020, don't forget, we've got the training only option too. Even if you're not a delegate, come show up. There's going to be amazing trainings that will help you in your activism when you go back home. They'll help you run for office when you go back home. That training only track is a great track for non-delegates.
Excellent.
And I'm sure there's going to be some electric races as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there's that.
The presidential, vice presidential nominations.
Chairs.
The chair, vice chair, and officer races. It's going to be quite wild. I don't have a cool shirt like John, but I am running for national chair again.
I mean, on top of all of that, you guys, it's just a whole lot of fun.
It's a blast.
If you have ever felt alone in this movement, if you have ever felt disconnected in this movement,
You'll never
please,
feel alone again.
please, yeah, come to a convention. It will change your life.
Yes.
If you get turned off by the social media backbiting, come to a national convention, that goes away.
Yep.
It's amazing.
You leave. You enter curious, nervous for your first time. You leave empowered.
Yeah, you leave with family.
And family. Yeah.
It's really that simple. All right, my last request. I want you guys tonight to have way too much fun, and I expect pictures. Okay, way too much fun. All
Thumbs
right.
up for Pat.
All right, Josh, you need to overcome that whole shyness thing. Get out there. All right, meet and greet, folks. Listen, have a great night, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Pat.
Good night,
Pat.
Pat.
See ya.
We are the Coalition, loud and proud. As always, we are outrage porn-free, civilly disobedient media, broadcasting live on the worldwide Coalition Media Network here at the Go Local Live Broadcast Center. We're going to take a good night now, whether it be the Libertarian National Committee members who joined us just now, Hannah Cox from Citizens Concerned Against the Death Penalty, doing yeoman's-like work, protecting the rights ultimately of all of us, whether it be the American Civil Liberties Union who joins us today, who are fighting actively local issues, local infringements of your First, your Second, your Fourth, your Eighth Amendment rights, all of that. I just have one thing to say. Hashtag take it personally. Good night. See you next week.